Unveil Podcast, where the invisible meets the visible.
Hi guys, how are you today? I'm Chris Donoma and I'm the host of the Unveil Podcast, where the invisible meet the visible. I felt the urge to create an episode 0 where I can explain a little bit what is the podcast about and why I choose to create this podcast where I will invite incredible human beings talking about the invisible realm. Starting from what it is, Unveil Podcast is talking about all the world that is not quiet materially there for the human perception. Science say that we can perceive the 1% of the electromagnetic field, and what is about the 99% is still unknown. So the goal of this podcast is explore this 99% that is still unknown for our perception as human beings. In the podcast, they will be invited really different people. So from people with schizophrenia to blind people to psychic, medium, people working with energy or communicating with the land. So it's really, really wide open to all the people that they have a kind of connection and communication with what is not visible to our eyes. I personally have always this curiosity about the mystery of life and all the things that they're a little bit hidden. And I always felt the perception that is not only the material world what is the reality itself. Since when I was really, really young, and I felt the urge to create a safe space where people that they are really connected with it, that they can express themselves and talk about their story and their approach to the invisible. Personally, since when I was really young, I had my channels really, really open. I remember I was 8 years old and I was sleeping with my mom in the same room. And we discovered that someone suicided himself with a rope, unfortunately, in our room. And I remember that there were situations incredible because we witness objects moving in the room or sounds or voices during the night and vision, clear vision of this guy suiciding himself. So from that moment, I was like, okay, there is something more than what we can perceive in the meta. And my father, for example, is the opposite. It's really scientific. So everything that I approach in my life is always really, really grounded and really, I'm really skeptical, but I'm trying on myself things to prove, okay, this is real in a way. So from that moment, I felt supported from my mom in this psychic powers to perceive spirits because she was not judging what I had, but we witnessed together these experiences. So I felt free to explore this part of myself. So with the channel completely open, at 18 years old, I had another experience of another stuck spirit. So it was not a really good experience, unfortunately. The first one, they were not really good ones. But when I was 23 years old, something really incredible happened. I was sleeping on my parents' couch. And at some point, I hear this male voice whispering in my right ear, your present moment will contain the clues of the future moments. I just opened my eyes and I've seen this Tibetan guy floating on my belly, luminous with crossed legs. I was like, what is going on here? From the day after, I start to predict things from a day to another. He came with a task of the gift that I should develop for myself and the community around me. And after 1 year, he appeared again. And in this case, we were in a dream, in a full dream, and we were walking on a path to the light. And I had wings, and I was covering them because I didn't know what I had to do. And I say to him, "What I have to do with this?" And he replied, we are looking at you from 2 years. You have a mission, but no worries, you will be never alone. And I just woke up and I had pain in my back where they're supposed to be the wings. And from that moment, I realized the path was a little bit unusual, but worthy to be followed. Since that moment, I start to see other 4 guides with different tasks and different characteristics with certain names, which is something that gives to me the proof that they were exactly what they are, like symbolically. And I didn't know nothing about these names. For example, my first one his name is Ariev, and I checked online, and the meaning is wise, and is my wisest one. I said, okay, this is again something true, and I start to work with them. And at some point, I felt overwhelmed because I was predicting things from a day to another at the age of 26. And you can imagine, like, Western work culture girl with this kind of characteristic, with nobody how to use these gifts. I went crazy completely. So I just say, okay, enough. And for 5 years, everything stopped. They were there protecting me and leading me invisibly, but I was above that. I was like, okay, that's it. But at the age of 30, I just came in Australia because a dream again told me, like, you have to go now or never. And I've seen this place called Broome in my dreams. And I say, okay, I'm going to go because I always follow this voice. I just landed in Australia, and after 2 weeks, the pandemic started, and I was in the safest place on the planet. So basically, this voice saved me. And the connection with the land and the beautiful people that I met. I had the honor to be with the shamans, Aboriginal shamans, and they literally activate me completely again. And I get more and more in connection with my guides, more and more with my psychic power, with my mediumship power. This had just put me on this journey of self-discovery, of superpowers inside me. And I always felt that my goal was helping others to find their own superpowers and embrace them and bring it into the world. So I start to do shamanic tattoos and psychic session with people. And at the moment, I'm a shamanic tattoo artist. I'm a psychic. I'm a mentoring people, just helping them to find their physical talents and psychic powers, put them together, and just follow their mission in life. So this podcast is because as much I'm diving deep in the invisible realm, as much as I'm mesmerized about what this invisible realm can offer for us. This exploring of the psychic powers, it's starting from healing our traumas, being full in the heart, and be able to tap in our superconscious that is able to tap in the quantum field. I suggest you to listen to the guest with a massive open mind. My intention to bring together incredible superheroes, it's happening, and I'm really excited to start this project and this podcast. So a massive, huge welcome to all you guys to the Unveiled podcast, where the invisible meet the visible. Thank you. The world is full of